Good evening, everyone. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could please remain standing. So our old home day celebration is a time of honor of our town's history. Recently, we lost someone who dedicated his life to making Londonderry the remarkable place that it is today. In the spirit of recognizing our history and his contributions, I'd like to take this moment of silence to remember Harold Esty. Please be seated. All right, everyone, good evening. Just as a reminder for those who don't know, today's Monday, August 12th. It is 7 p.m., 7:01. This is a Londonderry Town Council meeting. I'd like to open up public comment. The fire chief of the department is asked to come up and address the council about a couple things. With that, Chief.
Thank you. You got this. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council, leadership. I have a command update for you this evening. It's been a while since I was up here, so I just wanted to kind of follow up and close the loop on a couple outstanding items, as well as recognize the fire department and a local family in town. But I'm going to have them go last so I can get through all the business before crying and having to go through that. So just bear with me. So foam update. As you guys are well aware, there's been a lot of public concern regarding the Class B foam with PFAS in it. This has been an ongoing issue that the town manager had tasked the fire department to mitigate as soon as possible. Unfortunately, as you know, there are certain things at the state level that are outside our control. But there's also things that are within our control. And so as an organization with the public safety concern of the PFAS foam, we made a determination to remove that, just call it bad foam, off the apparatus, stored in 55-gallon drums and putting in a staging area until such time that the state of New Hampshire came up with its game plan to take back the bad foam. So last Thursday, I'm happy to report that the town of Londonderry is PFAS foam free. So there is no more bad foam at the fire department. We returned to DES roughly 250 gallons of that bad foam containing the PFAS, and we had to drop it off up in Newton, New Hampshire at the fire department where DES and a third-party contractor had set up the take-back program. I want to give a shout-out to my brother Tommy. So my brother Tommy, citizen, owns and operates a flooring company called Select Tile out of Salem. And I said to Tommy, I'm like, T, I'm in a bind. I need a truck with a lift gate. What can you do for me? And without hesitation, he let me use his big box truck. So the take back was flawless. It was easy. It had a lift gate. Everything worked out great. So I want to thank my brother, but also let the community know that we are PFAS foam free. This is a huge step for this community. The next order of business, there was a LAFA donation that the fire department made. If you recall, we had a cardiac arrest on West Road last fall. The fire department donated about $1,100 to LAFA to install an outdoor AED box to house an AED at the baseball fields. So we have them. It's the same one down at the town common. It's the same one at West Road. All the same system. LAFA will be responsible for the AEDs or the defibs, but we are supplying the housing for that. So there again, risk mitigation and preemptive planning. Hopefully, God forbid, something happens. We're set up to affect quick electricity to a downed citizen, which is important. All right, the next one and the final one. I got a call from a gentleman named Mike from the Make-A-Wish Foundation a couple of weeks ago. And Mike had asked if there was any appetite for the fire department coming together to build a deck for a handicapped child in town who's wheelchair bound, Kennedy here, so that she could enjoy her pool at her house. I passed this request off to the deputy chief. who took action on it immediately by contacting Christopher Schofield, the president of Local 3160. Together, between management and the union, we formulated a game plan. We assembled off-duty members. They got donations to secure lumber, pour concrete. The chairman was present during this deck build, and we put together something pretty special for a family that truly needs it. Having grown up in Londonderry, Shelby went to school. We went to school together, and my wife Amanda knows her very well. They played soccer. And Patrick, her husband. So when this came down, kindness begets more kindness. And I want to give a shout out to retired Litchfield Fire Chief Tom Schofield, who is Christopher and Brian Schofield's father. Mr. Schofield owns and operates Hook and Ladder Contracting. And he deployed his manpower, his resources, his knowledge, his skills, and his abilities in construction, and kind of led the build with the members of the fire department to pull this off for the McCarthy family. If that wasn't enough, as a fireman is, we're always looking to improve our position. The chief noticed that the ramp to their house, although not part of the plan, needed some work. So the chief went ahead and rebuilt the ramp to the house. So I just want to give a shout out to you, Chief, and your crew for what you guys did to assist the McCarthy family, all for the right reasons. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Brilliant. Thank you.
And I want to recognize the members of Local 3160 and the chairman, even though he's not going to like it, for coming together, and it was an all-hands working type of event. So in front of me here is Shelby and Patrick and Kennedy, and is it Ken? Kerrigan. I always get that, Kerrigan. But you'll see some pictures up here, and Cam, I appreciate this. Here's some pictures of the build as we were going through the 4 to 5 days of the members setting the footings, renting the excavator to pour the footings. There's Kennedy and the boys after a hot day. Here we go with the framing of the structure itself. And again, this is all led by Chief Schofield. And so as you can see right here, this is a concrete pad that begins the ramp, which is critical for Kennedy to get access to the pool deck and then ultimately into the pool. And that's what you're seeing in front of you there. I talked about that ramp off the house. Well, this is the new ramp that the chief decided he was going to build while he was there. Cost the family nothing. And honestly, I know you guys might not know it, but we probably got more out of it than you guys did, because it means the world for us to be able to do something like this for our community, especially people that we've grown up with and know. There's Kennedy taking a maiden voyage up the ramp. There's the pool ramp leading up to the pool deck. That's all PVC and vinyl railing, which will last a long time for the McCarthy family. And that's probably it, right, boss?
That is it.
So, gentlemen, I just want to let you know you got an awesome community that continues to do awesome things, always for the right reasons. And I'm very grateful that we were able to have a part in this build for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it for a long time to come. So, that's all I got. Any questions?
Phenomenal work.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And just to point out, the railings, in addition to the ramp, the railings were also donated by Hook and Ladder and Mr. Chief Schofield as well. So, gentlemen and ladies that supported that work and this family, thank you for pouring into the community. Words cannot describe what you have done, and I mean that with all my heart, so thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, we'll open up public comment.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Sorry, this is going to be brief because I'm not going to be able to hold myself together. Shelby McCarthy, 8 Sandy Brook Lane. My daughter was the recipient of this Make-A-Wish, and I just wanted to come up and can't even begin to tell you all how grateful we are for you coming into our lives and doing something so amazing this past week. They're not just them, their families allowed them to donate their time to us. It really was a community effort. These guys were here off the clock when they didn't have to be. Firefighter Jackson Sorensen was there every single day on his off days. Lieutenant Brian Schofield, same thing. Tom and Jean, both of you have raised an absolutely amazing family, and we couldn't be more appreciative for all that you did for us this past week. As Bo kind of touched on, I grew up in this community, so to have a lot of these men that I grew up playing sports with, watching them play sports, see them turn into the community leaders that they are, has been beyond incredible. The other thing that really has stuck with me, a lot of you probably don't know, granted she's very stable now, my husband and I have spent a lot of time in the back of ambulances with some of these men. And it was so heartwarming to see them with her in such a happy, healthy state. It gave us a chance to get to know about them and their personal lives. And these humans are just incredible. The things they do in their own personal lives, it was just great to get to know them on a different level. There are going to be some people, there have already been some people that are like, why a pool deck? Why did you go this way? Why not take a trip? When you live in the disability community, or you live the life we lead, we've been lucky so far. She's small. She's only going to grow. She's only going to get bigger. As she gets bigger, our world gets smaller. It's not the most accessible of places when you think about travel, when you think about feeding on the go, meds on the go, changing on the go. It's stuff that a lot of people take for granted because they don't have to do on a day-to-day basis. These incredible humans made it so we don't have to leave our house anymore. We literally have an incredible backyard oasis so we can enjoy our family, enjoy our friends in the comfort of our own yard, and we'll just be eternally grateful for that. So again, I just wanted to come up here and kind of reiterate what Bo said, but offer our sincerest of thank yous to LFD and their families, Tom, and yeah, that's it.
I think the community is also blessed for you and your family because you've been a driving force through education about families with children or members that have disability. You're an author for a book that I own. I have read to my children many times, and I would be remiss without thanking you just for being the driving force. A lot of behind the scenes, I know that's how you roll, but through some of our accessible stuff in town, and I look forward to the great things that Pat and you and your family continue to do, and also Tom Schofield's 3160. More than amazed and grateful of all the hard work that you do because you love this community. So thank you very much to the McCarthy family, to Hook and Ladder, and the 3160 and the members that helped. So thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
All right, so before we lose 90% of the room, is there any other public comment that anyone would like to add? Seeing none, we're going to close public comment. Thank you.
So I have an announcement.
Yes, sir.
So over the last couple of years, I've been having conversations with Governor Sununu about many things, but some of them about, Londonderry and its water issues. The governor has graciously nominated me to become the new chairman of the New Hampshire State Water Council. And at the last executive council meeting, I was confirmed. So starting next month, I will be the chairperson. Well, starting now, I am the chairperson of the Water Council, working with DES going forward, and see how I can learn about this and see how I can help drive, all the water initiatives that we have going on in Londonderry by learning how the state works and working closely with them. So my term is for the next 2 years, and I want to thank, the Executive Council and the Governor for allowing me this opportunity to work with the state. With that, I did a lot of research around where we're going and started coming across a lot of information and seeing that we're doing this whole thing around the master plan. So I want to ask the council a couple of things. I'm trying to understand something. My end game is I would like to see if we get a briefing from the planning department and the planning board about why we chose to go down the path of the master plan, which is going to take about 12 to 18 months to do that, versus updating all of our regulations. And let me tell you why. So it's been 15 years since we've completed an update and refreshed our regulations. And, that's site plan, site plan regs, ordinances, and various other pieces. Big reason I asked this is that I came across this in my office, that I was on the Open Space Task Force Committee in 2002. And this is when we went out and we started initiating buying open space and getting control of development rights. Prior to this, some really smart people in the town came up with buying and preserving the musquash, which is over 1,000 acres. Right now, with all the open space that we've purchased and all the development rights that we've gained control of as a town, had we not done any of this, our build-out would have been 45,000 people. Our build-out is now 33 to 34,000 people, and we're at 27,000. So my big question for the council is that I'm trying to understand, with the water issues that we have in front of us, we need $200 to $300 million to bring water to the whole town. We're spending our resources on a strategic plan or vision when we've already executed about 80% of what's going to happen. We only have about 20% of build remaining. So I would also like to ask the council to work with the planning department and ask the questions of what actions do we need to review with our state representation in Londonderry to go change laws. For example, building moratoriums are mostly, illegal. For the most part, illegal in New Hampshire. Why can't we ask for that to be changed? We have things such as, we have zero authority to limit growth. We can't stop it. The planning board can't stop it. The town council can't stop it. I mean, people have land rights. We're Dillon Rule State. An example is many years ago, we were given a workforce housing law, and it was mandated. To this day, we still can't get an explanation of what our fair share is as a community. Nobody can tell us. We have to guess or go to court. So my ask of the council is, I guess I have two asks. One is that these are kind of nice, and maybe we can ask Cameron to see what it would take to reward people and say, hey, you did a good job, and remind people that we appreciate them, with a little bit of a certificate of appreciation. But the other thing is that what I'm looking for from the council is can we ask the planning department, before we get into budgets and everything, not necessarily the department, but the planning board, why did we choose the path? I'm curious. Why did we choose the path of a strategic vision when we really need to execute the plan that's already in place and adjust our regulations accordingly? And we're not doing that. And we don't have the bandwidth to do it. We can only do one or the other. And I just think we ought to find out. So that's my ask of you. And if you think that's a good idea, I would ask that you have a consensus to ask the town manager and direct him in such a direction.
Council?
No, they're certainly good things to think about, and different ways to be thinking about them instead of how we've been going down the path that we've currently been going. So I think certainly it would be helpful to have probably the chair and the vice chair of the planning board and representative from the planning department to come to a meeting, hopefully before budgeting really kicks off.
As the member of the planning board and the master plan committee, I can only speculate per se on what I see from my perspective. I feel like we are going down the road with the master plan, but we are going down the road with updating the regulations somewhat. Now I get you can put both in one bucket and push farther faster with one. I get the old master plan was 80% done. We took a look at that. We took a look at what was checked off. That doesn't mean communities ever get done with doing a master plan. I do think it is important to keep updating a master plan periodically to see what the new visions for the
No
community
argument
are.
here.
And the things have changed. So there is value in doing that. The chair of the planning board would know more about why that direction was chosen, but that's what I know.
Yeah, what I would say in response to you is that we have burning issues that need to be handled, and we're doing a strategic vision and a plan, and we're not addressing the burning issues.
No disagreement here.
I'm fine either way. I think the master plan's already started, so to stop it now, maybe we should have tried.
We've had 2 meetings.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
because I know you haven't done one before,
Yeah.
it's 12 to 18 months.
I'd be fine with inviting them to a meeting and having them discuss with us. Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you, John, for bringing that up. I don't know if I call you Counselor Farrell or Chairman or not, but
I'm just a counselor.
teasing. I think communication is always helpful, and having that communication probably wouldn't be a bad idea. So, I mean, if I get a sense of the council, are we good with giving a consent? Do we have a consensus to ask the town manager to invite? Not, I'll call Jake as well, the chairman of the planning board.
Well, I think I'll add to that, potentially including our town attorney for land use and asking her, what are some of the different laws that we may want to try pushing with our state representatives and state senator to help, the future for us, but also other communities that are tying communities' hands behind their back on development and or water or other issues going forward that they've all, been encountering that they're like, oh, geez, I wish we could do this or this, but this law is really in our way and really should be either amended or repealed. And I think our land use attorney would provide a lot of perspective, as she probably works for other towns as well who've encountered other issues. What do you say to that, John?
Listen, I'm all in for, we have no tools. Everyone keeps saying we're growing too fast. We have too much traffic. We're this, we're that. The state gives us no tools to manage it.
Agreed.
0. So I'm all for whatever it needs to be to put us in a position. We can come up with the greatest plan in the world, but we don't have any tools to execute it.
Right.
Whatever helps.
I mean, we have a lot of laws that are in place, but a lot of them are very vague laws that don't help us either way.
So I think Councilor Farrell's points are well taken, which are that, the master plan by definition does not have the force of law. It is a vision for the future. Yes, we need to have one in order to have certain things, but all master plans are not created equal. And that's why throughout this process, and this is something that I've been saying, at least initially at the master plan meetings, is, our 2013 master plan is probably on the far end of what a master plan looks like. It cost a lot of money. There's a lot of pictures in there that never came to fruition. To your point, Councilor Farrell, a lot of, from my standpoint, even though we've achieved, roughly half of, we've achieved, I think, roughly half of the objectives that were outlined in the master plan. But a lot of wasted effort when you think about all the pictures and all the things that just have not transpired. And by definition, sure, you're gonna have some of that when you are planning 10, 15, 20 years out into the future. But I think what Councilor Farrell's point is we need to balance the immediate, what's in front of us, the problems that we all hear about every day, traffic and the loss of open space and community character, against the legitimate need to plan these things on a long-term basis. Let's take 2 of those things: traffic and the loss of community character and open space. There are easy fixes for those. We don't need to do a master plan to fix those things. We need to talk about it through the budget process, and we can tweak the mechanism that we have right now to conserve open space. So those are relatively straightforward regulatory changes that would, I think, address the resident concerns that we hear every day, and don't require a full 12 to 18-month master plan. So I think those comments are well taken, and that's why I've been advocating for if we're going to do this master plan thing, let's not make it a slick, expensive, time-consuming thing. Let's make it practical. Let's work with what we let's work with the achievable, and maybe not put it on the shelf for another 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think doing both is a lot to chew off. I think that it needs to be one or the other, and I agree that, let's not put it on the shelf for another 10 years, because I think that's just it's not going to be helpful. So, do you feel comfortable moving forward with reaching out to council as well as
Absolutely.
The planning board, and I'll connect with the chairman of the planning board.
And I appreciate, let me say this on behalf of the staff, I appreciate the recognition that our resources as a staff are not unlimited, and that there are a lot of demands on staff, and we can only do so much, and so we do need to prioritize some of these items.
All right, thank you.
I will say in closing too,
For the
we have no, not, you wish. We've got to be really careful when we talk about state law. It's really easy to go, we should just adjust some state law to give our community more tools and do more things and give us more control. But some of those things are there for a reason, for overarching purposes that may affect other communities disproportionately. It also gets into a way bigger scale than things that we're doing. And in the same note, we can only push our effort down so many roads. That one might bear the least amount of fruit. So just a caution there.
Again, I think it's important
I
to
don't know
look
what-
into.
I don't know what the state law looks like. I mean, what I'm saying is, you don't ask, you don't get.
No, absolutely. We can take a look at it.
I don't know if a moratorium is a good idea. But the way that the southern part of the state is building out, if we don't do something, we're going to be sitting here 5 years from now going, we should have done something.
On that situation specifically, knowing the political climate up in Concord, I don't think we're going to get much traction on that. That's also part of why I said that.
I understand.
But looking into it, I think would be see what the options are, see if there's any suggestions. One of the benefits of having a large body of government that we do is that the towns are represented, by more constant, better represented, just based on a sheer volume of reps we have.
And if I may, just in closing, Mr. Chair, I think that the conversation is a good one because, yes, the planning board is responsible for the preparation of a master plan, but it is the community's vision, and the town council are important voices in the community conversation. Yeah. And more importantly, the town
input.
And money, it takes money to implement these things. The council is in charge of the purse strings. So I think that the council undeniably is a stakeholder in this conversation.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Real quick, if I can, Mr. Breslin. At this time, I would like, if there's any members that are town staff or any members of the community that would like to leave, we can take a quick, brief pause. I know that the police and fire department has more important things to do than sit in the council meeting, and wanted to give that opportunity just for you guys, if you want to leave. I know it's riveting, but.
Let's give him a hand.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't care. What?
I got something.
So, Mr. Breslin, we had closed public comment.
I thought you were going to
Well,
take
hold
a
on.
brief recess.
We did. So,
Very brief.
real quick, I have closed public comment. I will allow for you to speak. I ask you to be brief.
Well, we already had someone speak in public comment, right?
I had closed public comment.
Pardon?
I had closed public comment.
Oh, you okay?
But
Yes.
at the chair's discretion, and the council can overrule the chair.
Okay, we'll make
I'm
it
asking
brief.
you to be brief.
We'll make it brief.
Thank you.
Ray Breslin, 3 Gary Drive. Okay, so we've had some discussion here, but look, we have a master plan committee that are doing great work. We also have a utility committee. We also have a water committee. And we actually have a water committee that's working on a master plan for water in this town, okay? Now, we don't have any power or control. And by the way, neither does the master plan. But it certainly needs an update, okay? The other really important document is the zoning regulations, okay? But I've heard too often saying that the town really doesn't have any power because of the laws of the state, which we understand we're following RSAs and we have to follow the law, okay? But when we're talking about health and safety for the citizens of this town, we do have a right to say something. And yes, if we have representatives that are going up to Concord, certainly they can speak for this town. And they are. At least some of them. I don't know. So my point is this. We're talking about land use, okay? That's zoning. We also have Conservation Commission, which is also about land use, although they don't really have much power. But they are pretty expert in the field, and they have done some great work for this town. Mm-hmm. So we have to listen to everyone. And as far as this master plan taking a year and a half, no, I don't think it should take a year and a half, and I don't think it should cost a lot of money either. We have a lot of information that we have paid good money for. We need to open it up. We need to pick out what the important things are and the priorities, and we need to work on them. And I think the Master Plan Committee and others are doing some really great work. And I think we all need to work together to accomplish the best for the citizens of this town. We all need to work together. So let's do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. And that's why, to further that, I think that's why it's good to have at least a conversation with the leadership of the planning board.
Just say something real quick. As one of your state reps, I would be willing to sit down with John, with Mike, with the attorney. We've got 2 bill filing opportunities. We've got one after Labor Day and one after the week after the election. So if there's any specific questions that you want to address or you want to find out, let's get the questions, and then we can find out what the law is and find out how you'd like to change it. So I'm willing to volunteer my time if anybody would like to do that.
Think more along the lines of flexibility in the law versus change of law. Because flexibility will go a lot easier than change.
Definitely.
Okay.
And no more unfunded mandates.
Yeah,
Please.
I'm with you there.
Pretty please.
Yeah. All right. So just a reminder, public comment is closed. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, authorization of the High Range Water Line Extension Grant Agreement. Mr. Town Manager.
Mr. Chair, I'm pleased to announce that in the last month or so, the town's water plan, if you will, and by that I mean beginning to address the contamination in the western part of Londonderry, straddling the High Range Road area. In the last month or so, the plan to fund improvements to address these issues is starting to come together. As everybody knows, the town has $2 million in ARPA funding that has been allocated towards this effort. Additionally, in March, the taxpayers overwhelmingly supported the $2.95 million loan that was part of this effort. And within the past month or so, we have successfully been awarded on a contingent basis, and I'll address the contingent part in a minute, successfully been awarded $8 million in grant funding from the Drinking Water and Groundwater Trust Fund to continue to build that project out in the High Range Road area. As a reminder, this is a supply project. It gets the water to where we need it to be in order to start branching out into the neighborhoods to remediate contaminated wells. It is contingent, as is the $2.95 million loan, only in that the governor and council have to approve it. So the applicable boards and agencies that have signed off on those funding packages, but it needs to go to governor and council for final approval. That's the purpose of tonight's item, is to give me authority to sign the grant agreement to secure that $8 million, and there is a certificate authorizing me to do that. That, from the long and the short of it, is why I'm here tonight on this item.
Is there any questions from the council?
Motion to grant the town, to authorize the town manager to sign the grant.
So move.
A motion from
Second.
John, a second from Ted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Order 2024-10, in order to relative to distribution of information technology capital reserve funds. Administrative Support Coordinator Kirsten Hildenan. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm sitting here just in case so I can use the computer to show you a website if you so desire. I can just take the keyboard from you. So I am here to ask for this disbursement of funds from the Information Technology Capital Reserve Fund to design, implement, and migrate a newer version of our website. So as many of you are aware, our website was last redone in 2018-2019. And what it fundamentally comes down to is that our town website is a pre-COVID website for a post-COVID world. It doesn't fit the needs of our residents, and it doesn't necessarily perform the way that our staff needs it to in order to meet those needs. We also we have a couple of extenuating circumstances which are requiring us to make a move anyway, and so we are hoping to make a move to the best platform possible. Did that really just...
That wasn't planned.
Well, what's not
Motion
planned
to
is...
approve.
One too many R's.
I apparently can't spell my town name right now, and if you knew the number of times I've typed Londonderry in the past few weeks, you would know why. So
that was an easy one.
So our current website, the most fundamental reason that we need to migrate our website is, I'm going to bore you with some technical terms now. Our current content management system, Drupal 7, is... Thank you, Councillor Faber. I was hoping to rely on your knowledge. It will no longer be supported as of January 2025. That means... Sorry, you guys are cracking me up.
Nobody seems overly surprised by that.
Right. That means that after that date, they will no longer be able to provide the technical support and the security updates that are needed to keep our residents and our residents' information secure. So we will be forced to migrate to a new content management system anyway. The default is Drupal 10, and I don't have a solid answer on if they charge what they're going to charge us to migrate to that. But the problem is that Drupal 10 has planned obsolescence in 2026. So we would need to do another migration. It wouldn't be as severe, but if we stay in the Drupal cycle, we're going to be continually migrating and without necessarily immense benefits. What this proposal does is it funds a transition to Civic Plus's proprietary content management system, and that allows us a larger degree of flexibility, a much better notification system, and most importantly, an accessibility system that will comply with the new federal Department of Justice regulations that go into place in April 2027 for us. I'll leave it there and see if you guys have any questions.
Is this a SaaS site that you're moving to?
A what?
SaaS, software as a service.
No.
We're still going to be housing it on a server here.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes. No, it is. Yes. Sorry.
So
You're asking me Tom questions.
Are we going out on Azure, or is that where we're going?
I do not know the answer to that. I can
Cloud-based
certainly get it for
application,
you.
I'm guessing.
So is it something cloud-based by Microsoft?
Yes, it is cloud-based. I do not know particularly which one, but
So
it is
then it's
cloud-based.
going out to Azure.
So I
All
don't
right.
believe we're currently.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't believe we're. Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Do we have...
Oh, wait.
I have a motion from John, a second from
Let Ted
Ron,
ask his question.
for discussion.
I mean, obviously we need to do this.
We do need to do this. Do we have any I guess, preliminary idea upon what it will look like after?
Great question.
So I'll show you my favorite one.
Thank you. Kirsten was prepared for my question.
I love this website. I'm not going to lie. So I've talked pretty extensively with Adam Ravensall of Civic Plus on this. So Concord's website, as you can see, a little bit more dynamic. These buttons right here.
You gotta get a dome though.
Got a what?
If you think that picture's not going to have apples in it. So you can see these park up. But the important thing about these is that they're more legible for our residents to understand. Yes, they're prettier, they're flashier, but we're not paying extra for that. I want to be crystal clear. Whether this is a box or a picture, that's not what we're paying. These aren't flashy extras that we're paying for. This is the inherent basics of the system, and it's a matter of how much I want to put into the design. So I want to be clear about that. We're not paying for flash, but you have the news updates that are a lot clearer, a lot easier to read. This right here, this accessibility options, this lets you choose what accessibility features you need and automatically implement them, which will help us adhere to all federal guidelines.
And if I can just jump in right there, I mean, so it's kind of a nice intersection with something that we've been talking about in the first two master plan committee meetings, which is age. Sean, I can't remember exactly what the label was, but it was like age-friendly factors.
Yeah.
And I mean, right there, we're an aging community. We need to have a website that people can interact with, and including people with disabilities, and that's something that we can't currently do right now.
And from a software perspective, so Drupal 7, for everybody at home, came out January 5th, 2011. So it's highly outdated. It's something that's general purpose. This is more municipal oriented. We're going to get a lot more things out of the box without having to do things for it. So this will take care of a lot of that, take care of a lot of the age accessibility, civic regulations. This seems like a very good idea.
And the other thing I would just point out is, I mean, and this is the piece that the public doesn't necessarily see, but it affects our delivery of public services, is I can't figure out how to use this thing. Like, and I'm not, I'm certainly not of a generation where, like, I grew up.
Can't figure out how to use this one?
No, ours. The back end is I mean, this is not
Byzantine.
is a nightmare. And figuring out just how to, like, post an agenda, I could do it, but it's going to take me 20, 25 minutes because I'm not doing it every day.
Sitemap on this?
What's that?
They do have a sitemap on it. Yep. So if you go to
Sitemap.
sitemap,
Very simple. Very good.
So where is it?
And that's really what we hear from folks is there's like a usability issue. There is, some of it is like the notifications. You have a hard time with our current website kind of tailoring the notifications in a way that just makes common sense. The notify me function, you have to literally hit a button every single time, and because it's a human that's doing it, there's going to be times when the button isn't pressed and the notification doesn't go out. And as many reminders as we give to the staff, listen, we're human, and so we're optimistic that this is going to enhance our ability to engage with residents.
Perfect.
The website we currently have, is that still the old Silvertech one that Silvertech built?
It used to be Municode. We were on a Municode platform, and then Municode was acquired by Civic Plus, but we're still on the old Municode platform. And this is Civic Plus's proprietary content management system, which is very much more friendly with what people use. And I cannot echo what Mike said enough about us being able to provide the best service experience to our residents on this one. This is something that our departments will be able to have more control over, and we'll be able to have much more ability to keep the information current and relevant.
And the other thing is, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I was just going to give the council credit for identifying this as an area of need and an area of priority. Setting that out as a priority for me and the staff. I think that you were exactly right to be concerned about the usability of this website, and we appreciate your support as we work to improve it.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor from John, second from Ron, for the amount of $37,858.50 for year one, year two, and following years.
Yep, so that cost includes all of the setup costs and the cost for year one.
Yep.
We'll get the remainder of what we've paid this year refunded at that point in time when it goes live. The annual costs are $7,195 per year, which is extraordinarily reasonable for a website and less than twice what we're paying now for about 5 times more functionality.
All right, thank you. All in favor of order 2024-10, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you, Chairson. You might as well stay up there because I believe you are next. Resolution 2024-22, establishing a fee schedule for records requests. First reading.
Motion to waive reading.
Motion to waive first
Second.
reading from John, second from Ted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Acceptance of unanticipated revenue from Phantom Fireworks. Mr. Town Manager.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. Phantom Fireworks wants to give us $2,000. We're happy to take it. We appreciate their generous gift, and I don't have a lot more to say about it.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
I have a
Second.
motion from Sean, a second from Ron. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. All right, approval of minutes, July 15th, 2024. Do I have any amendments? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from John, second from Ron. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
All right, we have one abstain. Any opposed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ted abstains. Chair votes in the affirmative. Liaison reports.
So on the master plan committee, we're working on a survey for Old Home Day to try to get into as many voices as possible within the community, as many ages as possible, get good demographics. Going through surveys and tests, I've had some experience doing that in my work environment on how you test and do a survey to get the actual results you need with the question you want. So we're reforming those right now. We've divided them into 9 key things, not redoing the whole master plan. That would be a complete waste of time. But 9 key things, which would be phased over 6 months for 3, 3, and 3. That also is good because you can, if we get down 3 of those items and we're 6 months in and we decide we want to pivot to something else, we can pivot away from it and go, all right, we did what we did, we're going to call it good. It's in the early phases of things, and so that's where we stand with that right now.
Thank you. Anything else?
CIP meeting. The next meeting will be 9/12. We'll be allowing. We gave the school and town more time to develop their plans instead of rushing for a 7/29 meeting.
Okay. John?
JetBlue's coming to Manchester Airport.
Awesome.
That's
Ron?
awesome.
Good.
All right. School board liaison. School board is evaluating 3 options for their space needs in full day kindergarten. Option 1 is to add 2 portable classrooms at each elementary school. Shift to a K through 5. Currently, it is 1 through 5. So it would be looking to shift kindergarten to community elementary schools, as it is throughout the state, or many other places throughout the state. This would, again, move kindergarten to Moose Hill. Maybe I should just read my notes. Keep the LEAP at Moose Hill and relocate the district office to Moose Hill as well. All options to be discussed at this September 3rd, I'm tongue-tied tonight, school board meeting. And they're exploring potential revenue from a group net metering initiative with more details to be shared at that same September 3rd meeting.
You guys all know why they built a separate kindergarten?
I don't. I would like to know.
If I recall correctly, it was because the state would pay half of it if we did it that way at the time.
I remember that.
It was 20 years ago, so I mean, but that was the driving factor behind it at the time, if I recall correctly.
Thank you. Town manager report.
The only thing I have to, a couple things. Obviously, it's Old Home Day week, as I think has been mentioned before.
Oh.
Down my notes.
And lots of good information about that on the website. If you have questions, you can reach out to Kirsten Hildenin or Doug Cole. They are the coordinators for this year's Old Home Day event. I ordered up good weather for the whole week, so that should take care of that. And looking forward to seeing everyone there. And we're in a moderate drought. So as the council knows, we have a drought ordinance. The council can choose to keep an eye on things or to enact restrictions. So this is the first meeting that we've had where we're in a moderate drought, so I just wanted to draw that to the council's attention.
With all the rain, we're still in a drought potential.
Yep.
How often do they update that?
I don't have the answer to that. I don't know, but I can certainly take a look at it in advance of the next meeting. I haven't heard of anybody's wells running dry or anything like that yet. I mean, I do think that the fire environment, I mean, we saw a couple of brush fires in the last week or so, but
Based on the puddles on the common, I think we're good.
I don't think it's a dire emergency. Yeah.
I would agree with that. Anything else, Mr. Town Manager?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So just a reminder, as I opened up Old Home Day, just really is a time to celebrate and honor the town's history and come together as a community. Starts Wednesday with the senior dinner, the bingo, where there's going to be community members reading the numbers. So good luck with that. I heard that people are very particular with the way it's done. So those that are reading the numbers, just be careful. I also would like to thank Cheerston and Doug for all their hard work that they put into the committee. I know John's been the liaison. Steve for organizing the parade, and all those that has had their hands in that. We wouldn't have the Old Home Day if it wasn't for the hard work and hours that people are putting in. And when I say hours, it's unfathomable how much time is going into the prep work. So I wanted to say thank you. With that, anyone want to say anything else before we close? All right, seeing none, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion from Sean, a second from Ron. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?